another episode of Natives Podcast. I'll tell you what, I'm here with just a super guy, Ryan Croteau, and he has done a little bit of everything, and you're going to love his story, and it's just a great story from around the world and what he's done. And I'm just going to ask Ryan if he could start his story from childhood and where you've gone and how this has all come about. So starting from childhood in Hobe Sound.
Yeah, so what's up, guys? My name's Ryan. I grew up in Hobe Sound, and I had quite a nostalgic childhood, and I think that's kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing now. I'm running the surf camp down at Hobe Sound Beach. I am, and the way that I'm doing it, it just bringing back all these memories of how I grew up as a kid. So it's almost like I'm like on the endless summer program of what it was like for me when I was 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool that, you can do that, but see, you're getting all these other people to experience surfing the way you did, that they might not. What's the chance of half of them probably wouldn't have been doing it? What's the percentage, you think?
0. No, maybe like 10. I don't know. When I grew up here as a kid, I had no one to surf with. Luckily, I had my brother.
Yeah.
Everyone else that would take me surfing, like Bert Krebs, Dave McLean, I had like Chris Watson, like all these older guys, like 18 and older. Bert and Dave, they're in their 60s, I think, now. But yeah, I had my brother, basically. We'd find our way down to the beach. Dave did have a son named Daniel that I got to surf with, but it got to a point where I had to go to Jupiter to surf with kids my age because that's where all the kids were surfing. So being a kid from Hobe Sound, when I grew up, didn't really have that many opportunities to make friends in the water. And now if you go down to Hobe Sound Beach after last summer, because last summer was my first year of surf camp, there's 15 kids on a weekend that are all stoked on surfing because I taught them, So that was kind of my goal, and my dream was to come back. I was in California for a while, come back and put the energy of my coaching that I do into a place that matters to me the most, which is here.
Yeah. So what age did you start surfing?
I started surfing at age 7. 7, yeah. And I learned I actually was surfing before that on like a boogie board, My parents would take me down to the beach. I would skimboard, I would boogie board, and then I just started standing up on the boogie board. And I grew up off of Woodwind Street, and we had a pool. And I would be able to like put the boogie board on the edge of the pool and run across it in my school clothes in the morning and just like skim across the whole pool without even getting my shorts wet. And I would do that a couple times before school. My mom would be like, "Ryan, get your butt in the car. We're going to school," And my mom didn't surf. My dad didn't surf. They had no clue about surfing. And I was doing that one night. They had some friends over for like a dinner barbecue. And I was just skimming across the pool on the boogie board, and they kind of knew a little bit about surfing, and I think their kid was kind of into it, and they were like, "You need to buy that kid a surfboard." And so on my 7th birthday, I had a surfboard sitting there, and it was like I forget who shaped it, but it was just a random shaper. Like I said, my dad had no clue. He bought me like a 5'10" hardboard, like not something you'd want to learn on, know?
Yeah.
Nowadays, we have like 8-foot soft tops.
Soft tops.
Perfect boards for kids to learn on, but I just got this sharp, pointy hardboard. But it was actually easier for me to surf on that because I'm already standing on the boogie board, which is like probably 3.5 feet, So surfing to me to start on a surfboard actually was kind of easy. But I just didn't. I was a little kid, I was always the smallest kid at Hobe Sound Elementary in my class, kind of like the runt, and I hung out with older kids, so I could never get out. I could stand up, but I couldn't get out. So my dad, he didn't really know anything about surfing, but he knew that he could grab the nose of the board and swim me out and pull me into the waves and then turn me around and send me, and I'd be good. So he did that for like 2 years till like 9 or 10, and then I just kind of eventually paddled away from him. I was like, I got it, I'm good. Yeah. And then at 10 years old, actually I saw you had William on here. Kimball. I was doing William's surf camp, and William put on like a blue water surf contest for kids. And I think I sent you one of the photos. I'll show it to you which one it is later. But he put on this contest, and I remember I was like, all right, I'll do the contest at age 10. And I ended up winning it. And
Oh,
it was paddling, had to do it all on your own, paddling your own waves, and I ended up winning it. And then from that moment on, I was like, I'm surfing, like all I want to do is surf.
how cool is that?
I remember I told my dad after that moment, I was like, I was so into that feeling of like being a surfer and like, oh, I can actually do this. Like I can beat other kids, and like I can compete. This is cool because I've always been kind of like, that little kid who has that kind of edge of like competition, maybe a little bit of like a shit talker, but like likes to kind of like compete, And so I told my dad, I was like, no more baseball, because at the time I was playing baseball over here across the street. And he's like, well, I don't know if you guys know Chris Burke, but Chris Burke's a local surfer guy. Used to take me to the beach. He was actually this is a funny story. He was actually my baseball coach. And he's like, well, you got to tell Coach Chris that you don't want to play baseball anymore, but you're finishing the season. He's like, you're a Croteau. You're not quitting mid-season. Your team needs you. We don't quit on our friends and our teammates. So I told Chris, I said, hey, Mr. Chris, I'm gonna quit baseball. I want to surf. And he's like, what do you mean you want to surf? And I was like, that's just what I want to do. All I want to do is surf. He's like, he told me, and this is the funniest story. I told Chris this story too. He goes, you can't just surf your whole life. Nobody surfs their whole life. What do you mean you want to surf? And I was like, I just want to be a surfer. I don't want to do any sports. All I want to do is surf. And it's funny because he told me that. And now me and Chris are close. He actually came and visited me down in Guatemala this year. And Chris is a lifelong surfer.
Yeah.
So my baseball coach is telling me you can't surf your whole life, but he's literally, I didn't even know at the time that he surfed, and he's like one of the most stoked surfers I've ever seen. He surfs every day. He's driving up the coast going surfing with his camper. I saw him going up US 1 the other day pulling his camper up to New Smyrna all alone, like this guy's chasing 2-3 foot waves into his 60s, but I can't. So I talked to him about it, and I think at the time, that time of surfing in Hobe Sound, kids were kind of getting into trouble. Like they were kind of mixing surfing with bad activities. So he was kind of trying to protect me, is what he told me.
Oh.
But he's still surfing. I surfed with him this year. He came down to Guatemala. We did a week together with him and Bert Krebs and his son, Dan. Super cool guy, super fun. But it's just a funny story how he said that. And he's like one of the oldest surfer stoked guys I know. Yeah. Still doing it. Probably will do it to the day he dies. But yeah, that was kind of the start for me, and I just thought that was a funny story.
Well, a lot of people surf into their 80s.
Yeah, that's my goal.
It keeps you active, and I just can't paddle anymore. By the time I paddle out and I'm exhausted, I need to go practice paddling again to get back.
Yeah, I just try to get in the water as much as I can because my goal is like I'm doing it now for like the longevity of it. Like my brother was a great surfer. He still surfs a little bit, but he's not into it as much as I am. And I just tell him like, you just got to get in the water and move every day because that's how you're going to be able to make it to that 70, 80 timeline. It's hard though.
But see, that's been the magic of your thing. You two talk about surfing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
See, what growing up the whole time you could talk about it. I mean, what a bonding thing between brothers.
Yeah. And he pushed me a lot.
Did he?
Yeah, because he's good.
Yeah.
He's good. I was telling my girlfriend the other day because I got these two little kids that are growing up in the Soundings that started surfing with me last July. And just last weekend, I went up with them to Daytona Beach. They did a contest. It's like their third or fourth contest. One brother's 7, one brother's 10, pretty close in age to me and my brother. And the little brother actually beat the older brother in the final.
Oh,
and she asked me, she goes, did Justin ever beat you? And I go, I'm pretty sure Justin never beat me, which is funny. I don't know. He might watch this and say, no, I got you that one time, but it wasn't very common. This little brother's kind of already got his brother's number, and it's just the start. So I have a feeling they're going to really push each other like harder than you would growing up without a brother next to you,
And that's it. That the competitiveness of brothers is something else. I mean,
it's special.
My brother and I, we race motocross together, and if we're the only two, if we're in first and second, we're running away from everybody. We'd take each other out. We just as soon as we're done, we're friends.
Yeah.
But it's just that he can't beat me.
Yeah, that's the best. That's the best way to. If you're blessed to be born with a brother that competes or does
Yeah.
the same sport as you, it's like there's nothing better for a
Magic.
training partner.
Yeah.
You know?
Just
Yeah.
the good stuff.
Yeah.
So you're growing up. So now, at around in your teens, when did you move?
Yeah. So growing up, that was like my younger days in Hobe Sound, and then eventually I started. After that contest at 10, I was trying to do them every weekend. So like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, just competing every weekend, starting to get traction and sponsors and traveling up to the Easterns up in Cape Hatteras, doing like the full East Coast tour, of like all the amateur stuff. And that I met a lot of good friends that way. Super fun. Looking back, those are some of my best memories, honestly, is like driving up to the Outer Banks with like a crew of kids from your district of ESA and like renting like a 10-bedroom house and just like all surfing and pranking each other and stuff. And then, once you start getting results on the East Coast, then you start venturing out to like the West Coast. So at about like 14, 15, I'd start shooting over there for like more national contests, because you do the Easterns and the ESA or the NSSA on the East Coast side, and then once you qualify for that or through that, you go to the nationals, which is like in San Clemente. You have like NSSA nationals was at Lower Trestles at the time, San Clemente, and so I started making friends out there and realizing like, wow, this is where the industry is. And it just kind of a weird kind of thing happened where I don't know if you remember my dad, but he's still around. He's doing pretty good. He had cell phone stores. It was called Third Millennium Wireless Plus. He had one like over by the Roosevelt. He had them kind of like one down by the Jupiter movie theater, and one hurricane came through and just like wiped them all out. And at the time, you'd be able to go to the cell phone store and you wouldn't just go to AT&T or Verizon. You'd go to like Third Millennium Wireless Plus and you could pick your phone and your plan. It was before it all was like merged into one.
Right.
And so at the time, everything was changing, and the hurricane wiped it out. AT&T offered him a job to like go sell the fiber optic cables in California. And so he asked me and my brother. He was like, "Do you guys want to go to California?" And we're like, "Oh heck yeah!" Like there's no better timing. I'm 16, Justin's 14. We want to be out there surfing every day. So he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go out there and figure it out. Try to make some money, get you guys a place to stay, and you guys can come. Well, I'll call you when I'm ready." So he left. At the time, my parents were divorced. My dad lived in Jupiter. My mom lived at the house in Hobe Sound. And so he took off. He left. My mom, who you know real well, was obviously a little sad about that. And he gave us the call. He's like, "I'm ready." So from there, we shot out to California.
How long did it take you to get out there from the time he told you till you got there?
About 3 months.
Oh, was?
He went out for 3 months.
Oh, no, but when he called and said, "I'm ready for you to come."
Oh, probably next week. Yeah.
No, not long.
Yeah.
We're going.
Yeah. It was perfect time too because
together.
I remember we landed out there in June, and we were staying like on the border of Newport Beach in Huntington, and he got us like 2 regular bikes. This is before e-bikes. So we would come out of the apartment and just bike down to the beach, and we already had a couple friends established out there from visiting for those contests.
Oh, you already.
So we would just bike to our buddy's house who lived on the beach, and we would stay there all day. We'd just do our own thing from 6 in the morning. My dad would be like, "Be back at 6, be back at sunset for dinner." And that whole summer before we started school out there, we'd just every morning, same routine. Wake up, me and Justin, bike to the buddy's house, surf all day, eat food at his house. My dad would give us a little money for food. We'd figure it out, and then be back for dinner with my dad. And it was funny because he was still kind of figuring it out. He wasn't doing well financially by any means. So we literally had this empty apartment, and we all slept in the living room. I had an air mattress. My dad had an air mattress in the middle, and then my brother had an air mattress on the other side, and one TV. We'd like eat dinner on the air mattresses, watch TV, watch surfing, and then fall asleep. And we just did that for 3 months until he made more money to like get us a real place in our school district where we were going to attend school. And before that, I was actually homeschooled for a couple of years, but we went back to school there because they had a surf team.
Yeah,
That's
right.
something I'd love to do here is your first class or like class 0 or your PE.
Yep.
If you had a sport, it was that sport. So we didn't have to go to PE class. We just went and surfed every morning with the team. So that was super cool. I'd love to, if we could do that in Florida, that would, especially in Hobe Sound, like create a South Fork surf team or a Pine School surf team at that like high school age. I think it's great because it's being on a team with other surfers was like such a bonding experience. You guys are all together. You're in school together. You're at the beach together. Like it was super cool. Yeah. So that was a fun start to the California chapter. And then, my mom's sweetest lady ever, she's over here all sad calling us. So once we transferred out of that airbed situation, it's funny because my parents were divorced, but they're still nice to each other, like they weren't super bad blood. And so my dad said, hey, I found this place. It's a 3-bedroom. Your mom can come out if you guys share a room. So they got divorced when I was 16 they got divorced when I was 6 and now I'm at 16 and me and my brother agreed to share a room, 2 twin beds so that my mom could come out. And now we're living all together again, which is, and that was nice of my dad, because he said, you can come out to get on your feet, stay in this room. Once you get on your feet and find your way, then you can rent your own place. So yeah, he kind of owed her a little bit. Anyways, that was nice of him.
Kind of owed.
Yeah. So my mom ended up,
most of us do.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom ended up coming out, and she's the best. I love my mom, so it was really cool to be with her, and she's always worked in restaurants. Now she's working at place down in Tequesta. She's still doing it, so she came out there, got a good restaurant job, making good money and tips, found her own spot close by, and I got to finish off high school out there with my mom and dad in a different state, so cool experience for sure.
Great experience.
Yeah.
Did you do any trips to Baja or Mexico?
Yes. Yeah.
Costa Rica, anything?
Yeah. One of the photos I sent you is wearing a wetsuit with a hood on it. That was Baja. So I did get into driving down to Baja. I met some friends in high school that were like, oh, we got to go down to Baja for this swell, So I was basically 16, 17 years old crossing the border with 2 other 17-year-old kids and driving down there to go surf for a day and then drive back. My dad would even send me to go to the dentist down there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
He didn't want to pay for insurance or dental insurance, so I remember one time I drove down to Tijuana.
You're going to the dentist.
I drove down to Tijuana alone and I surfed in the morning before my dentist appointment at a place called Baja Malibu, which is like just 30 minutes across the border. And then I had to
near Rosarito?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Just above it?
Yeah, just above it.
Okay. Yep.
And I had to get to the dentist, and I remember I was driving into Tijuana and I missed the turn. And I was like, oh man, I'm going into like sketchy, deep Tijuana. I don't know where I'm going. My phone wasn't working because I didn't have the data down there, and my heart started beating so freaking fast, man. I was like, gosh dang it, I'm in the middle of Tijuana right now. How am I going to find my dentist, And I'm all alone. My dad sent me down there. He's like, you got to get that crown fixed, So I remember I ended up finding the dentist, and it was all good. But that was like one of my first trips just across the border to Baja, and I was scared.
By yourself?
Scared, yeah.
At 16?
17 probably at that
17.
time, yeah.
Still.
Yeah, I had a little 4Runner, and I remember the windows were really tinted, so I felt kind of like, they're not going to, if I do get in any dangerous place, like at least I kind of have a car that blends in, instead of like being a good target where they can see a little blonde-haired kid driving around,
Yep.
But, yeah, we went on a couple trips when we were little, like Nicaragua, Costa Rica, places like that as a family, and I've always been super into traveling, I would go to the contest and stuff, like I did a QS contest. The WQS is the World Qualifying Series down in El Salvador. But like I always remember, I wanted to go to the contest just to hang out with my friends and go see another country. You know, it wasn't for me. I didn't really want to. I didn't care. I got to a point where I didn't care too much about competing. Like I kind of lost that little bit of the competitive edge. I just wanted to go travel. So traveling for me has kind of been my favorite thing, my favorite part of life, you know.
It's the adventure.
The adventure, yeah. When me and my brother, I graduated high school in 2012. He was 2 years behind me. So 2014, my brother got out of high school and he didn't really know what to do. He's like, I might join the Coast Guard or I don't know what I want to do. I said, well, let's save up some money and go travel. I ended up selling that car that I drove to Tijuana, and he saved some money and we sold some stuff. And we used to do these like Volcom series contests. They had these Volcom contests, and they'd give you like skateboards and boards. And I remember we were like making the finals in those and selling everything on Craigslist to save up for this trip. And we both, I think we left with like $3,000 to $5,000 each, and we're like, let's just see how far we can go. So we went to Indonesia. We started in Indonesia. We did, I think, 3 months in Indonesia, and then we're like, oh, let's go to Australia. We can apply for a work permit. We can go. At the time, I remember we were like, you can make $20 an hour in Australian dollars if you go work in like an ice cream shop near like Snapper Rocks or something. Mm-hmm. So we were like, oh, let's go do that. You know, we can work and stay and travel longer. And we submitted the visa, and for some reason, his visa got approved instantly. And we were sitting in Bali for like 2 weeks, and mine was on like yellow, like on hold. For some reason, it never got approved. I don't know if I did the paperwork wrong or something. And it just so happened that we had a friend in Europe who just finished like a van trip through Europe, and he posted for sale his van at a pretty cheap price in England. So we were like, oh, let's just go buy that van and live in that. So we flew from Indonesia to England, bought this van, and it was a right-hand drive manual, so shifting with your left, and we've never driven a stick before. So we show up in England. We buy this rusty old camper van, but it was cool. It had a bed in it and stuff. He taught us briefly how to drive it, and we made it like one day practice, and then we took a boat over to France on the van with the van, and then we drove the van all the way down to Portugal and surfed the whole way, and we saved a bunch of money by basically like sleeping side by side in the van. And it was a fun trip. You know, we got to surf some really cool waves like Mundaka in Spain. It's like one of the best left point break sand bottom river mouth waves in the world. We surfed
it's unbelievable.
We surfed Super Tubos, that's a wave in Portugal, and just like finding all these other little nooks and crannies to kind of like sleep and check the waves, and just me and my brother was super cool. Spain was awesome. Portugal, France. We surfed Hossegor, France. That's like they used to have the World Championship Tour event there, so traveling was kind of my thing. You know, I really liked to go explore, and I still have it. You know, my brother, he's a firefighter here in Martin County, and he's got 2 kids, so he can't really do it anymore. You know, I'm kidless, and I still have the urge to go explore. So I'm gonna try to do that as long as I can.
Because it's just fun exploring, and you know what? That when you do it when you're young, it's not. People say later on, no. It's when you do all the traveling when you're young, it's just so much better.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's different, you know, because he just brought his kids down to Guatemala, where I spent a lot of time, and it's totally different experience traveling with a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old versus living in a van with your brother and eating ramen noodles.
A lot of ramen noodles.
Yeah. Making pasta with butter and just trying to get another week, you know, and extend your $200-$300 to another week of traveling, you know, just keep pushing it. So different experience, but traveling with his kids, it was like a month or 2 ago. It was pretty special just to see them out of the country for their first time, you know. There's different feelings involved for sure as you grow up. It's pretty cool.
It's so cool. But see, now pretty soon he'll have his kids surfing too.
Yeah.
You know,
his 5-year-old Sage is she's coming to camp next week.
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh, fun stuff.
Yeah, so I'll be I think that'll be the first time that she's like at the beach without her parents, you know, like she'll be with Uncle Ryan, but it'll be a big deal for her, you know, because normally it's 6 and up, but she already surfs and she's my niece, so I let her slide in. Yeah, it'll be cool.
Did you give her half price?
Nah, she comes for free, man. She's family. You charge your family 50% off to eat here, or you let them eat for free?
No, I know. I'm just trying to be funny about it. That's all.
Yeah, she's coming for free.
Okay, so now you're on the surf trip. Okay, what happened after? Did we sell the van? Where are we at there on that trip?
Oh, that's a funny story.
Okay.
The story goes on. So, at the time I was actually dating a European girl, and my brother got to Portugal and flew back to Florida for Christmas. And so the problem that we had with the van is we were in Portugal, we don't speak Portuguese, and we have an English van with the right-hand drive, and France, Spain, and Portugal, the whole time we drove down the coast was left-hand drive. So selling the van was a little bit difficult down there. So I had to get it back all the way to England alone. And my plan was to get the van back to England and sell it and then go see the girl I was seeing for Christmas, you know, because he left. I dropped him off at the Lisbon airport and he took off. So I drove from the Lisbon airport to a place called Santander, Spain. And it's kind of like on the north of Spain. And you could catch a ferry boat from there all the way back to England. It was like a long day or two, it felt. I can't remember. On this ferry where you park your car on it and then you're just like upstairs in a cafe sleeping on a couch or something. And I ended up in this port town. It was called Portsmouth, England. I don't know if it still exists, but we have Craigslist here, which isn't even that popular anymore. Everyone uses Facebook now. But back then they had a thing called Gumtree.uk, and that was like the UK Craigslist. And so I already found a buyer. I posted pictures of it, and he's like, yeah, I'll come bring it to my house and I'll give you the money for it. So I go all the way from Spain to Portsmouth, and I get to the Portsmouth, and first thing I do is go to the gas station. I buy a little SIM card, I put it in, and my phone, and I call the guy, and he's living in a town called, I'll never forget the town name because this was such a mission to do alone. It's called Gravesend, and I pull up into Gravesend.
Gravesend.
Yeah, it sounds like a scary place.
Yeah,
you guys can look it up. It's real.
It's like a Stephen King book.
Yeah, exactly. And I pull up to his house at night. He's like, why don't you just sleep here? I want to check it out in the morning when the light's out. And I said, okay. So I crashed there, and it's on his street at night. You know, he wakes up in the morning and he gets going through it, looks under it, and the first thing he does after maybe 30 seconds of looking under is look under at the frame, you know, and he goes, oh man, this thing is rusted to shit, you know. And I go, yeah, there's some rust on it, you know. And he already had offered me some money online, but he hasn't seen the car in person. He goes, I don't even think that I would drive this around town here, you know. Like, he was going to use it for the summer to go to see some music festivals. I'm like, what do you mean you wouldn't drive it around town here? I just drove it from here to Portugal and then back here. And he was trying to tell me, he's like, I wouldn't even drive this thing. It's dangerous. It's too much rust. And I'm like, oh man, what a nightmare, you know. He's like, he felt bad though, and he gave me like 100 pounds. I don't know what that is equivalent to dollars, but he's like, here's for your gas and time, man. I feel bad that you came all the way here from freaking Portugal, but here's 100 pounds. And so I'm just bummed, you know. I go around the corner to McDonald's just to like have some food, and I normally never eat McDonald's. I don't know what I was doing in a McDonald's, but
well, you're upset.
Yeah, a cup of coffee and yeah, I'm at a low point when I'm at a McDonald's.
but you're just trying to see that's almost you're looking for something comfortable to put your mind back on.
Yeah.
On reset.
Mm-hmm. So I'm in McDonald's, I ordered some food, and I'm sitting there just scratching my head like, what the heck am I going to do with this van? Christmas is around the corner. I'm supposed to be here. I'm all alone, you know. I'm like, I'm about to cry, man. You know, like my brother's, my brother's gone.
He left me.
Yeah, and I'm like, this sucks. And I look out the window of the McDonald's, and I kid you not, there's this. You've seen my signs around town.
Yeah.
There's a sign just like that, and it says, "I buy old camper vans and campers and vans," or something like that. I buy old camper vans and cars. And I go, oh my God. And my SIM card already ran out from before. So there was a gas station across the street. I run across there, grab another, pay money to put it on my SIM card, and I call the number. And he's like, where are you? I'm like, I'm right by your sign at McDonald's. And he's like, oh, I'll come take a look at it. So he comes over to McDonald's and meets me there. And he says the same thing. He's like, yeah, I buy old camper vans, you know, I scrap them or whatever. Or I try to sell him, you know. I don't know what he was going to do with it, probably flip it. But he looked under it. He's like, there's too much rust, man. I'm going to have to tow this thing out of here, out of the McDonald's parking lot. I go, with all due respect, sir, I just drove this car to Portugal and back. I know that you think it's a lot of rust, but I'm pretty sure you can get it home to where it needs to go, you know.
I just drove that far.
He gave me, I think we paid like 1,500 pounds or 2,000. I think me and my brother paid 1,000 pounds each for the van. I don't know what the conversion is, and I think he offered me like 800 or 900 just to take it off my hands. And I shook his hand. I said, deal, I'll take it, but you got to give me a ride to the train station so I could get to the London Heathrow airport and catch a flight. So he was like, deal. He brought a tow truck, put it on there. I hopped in the front of the tow truck. He took me to the train station. And then within the moment I saw that sign, like an hour later, I was at the train station and heading to the airport to get out of there. Yeah, so I mean,
wow.
People say, you know, through life, you're going to see signs that can guide you. And that was definitely one of those moments where I was like, wow, you know, someone's looking after me and there's a sign right there and I'm going to call that number.
But what's the chance that you go someplace like McDonald's and see that sign?
It's crazy.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
You don't see those kind of signs around, but
no, I mean, I see sometimes around here, like I buy junk cars and stuff, but you wouldn't think in the middle of like a really small town, you know, I don't know the population of that town that I was in, Gravesend, but it might be smaller than Hobe Sound. Who knows? But I'll have to look that up to see what the population is of Hobe Sound and then this random town in England. But yeah, that was a sign for sure.
So you came back. So you come back then.
Yeah, so I got out of there. Thank God. 'Cause I wasn't really. So
you're like
I loved
21?
So that was the year Justin graduated high school, which was 2014. So he probably graduated at 18. I was probably 20. Yeah, we're about two and a half years apart. 21, 20, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So I got out of there, and I loved Europe. I loved traveling through all those places, but I did not like England. And it was just like, I remember we spent like, before we bought the van, we landed in London and we spent a couple days there, and I was like, oh my gosh, this place is crazy, you know? Like, it was cool. We saw like Big Ben and some of those like iconic things in London, and but it was just expensive. For us, we were like, we got to get out of here. We're gonna our 6 months travel is gonna be gone in a week if we stay in London, you know, because we hadn't had the van yet, so we were paying for hotels and hostels. And it's pretty expensive in 2014, at least in London. So we got out of there quick. And when I got back into the UK, I actually got a special stamp when I arrived on the boat. They actually gave me a special stamp on my passport. They questioned me so hard, like, what are you doing here, and how much money's in your bank account? And I was telling them, like, I don't have that much money in my bank account. I'm trying to sell this car and get out of here, you know? And they're like, no, you're coming to work here. We get a lot of people that come over here to try to work, and normally you can get like 6 months or something when you arrive in the UK. And they were like just questioning me so hard, and I was like, hey, this is how much I have in my bank account. My goal is to sell the car and get out of here as quick as possible. I don't want to be in the UK. And they didn't believe me, so they gave me a special stamp. They're like, you have 30 days to leave. If you overstay this 30 days, normally you get 6 months, but if you overstay this 30 days, you'll get in a lot of trouble and you won't be allowed back into the country or something like that. So I was like, I'll be out of here quick. Don't worry. I don't like it here that much. It's cold. I'm a Florida boy.
So you were 1 day?
I think it
2
took me
days?
like 2 days.
2 days
Yeah.
and you were gone.
2 days and I was gone.
So
Yeah.
you got 28 extra days that you can go back now.
Yeah. That passport's expired now. It was cool. I almost filled it up. That's one of my goals in life, is to fill a passport, you know. So now I got a new one, and I'm going to Guatemala a lot. My girlfriend's from there, and I've been going there. That's a whole nother travel story. But the first time I went there was when I was 18, and so, you know, I go there a lot and see her, and she comes here, and we kind of have like a part life there, part life here. So now I'm getting all these Guatemalan stamps in my passport. I'm like, I'm about to fill a passport just from this, but I was
Just
like, I
from
feel like that
Guatemala.
doesn't count, you know. I want to go see some other places. Like, I've never been to Japan, so we've been talking about going to Japan and seeing some stuff over there. But luckily with the surf camp, it's pretty seasonal. You know, I can make some money in the summer, and then it gives me the freedom to travel, you know, and do the things that I want.
And I always thought it was pretty cool that 30 countries and by 30 years old.
That would be cool. Yeah, I don't know how many countries I have, actually.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to. How
Okay.
many have you been to? You know, it's another thing to think about.
Yeah, I'd have to count.
So you leave England, you go back to California?
Yeah, I ended up going back to California after Christmas, and then that part of my life was kind of when I was transitioning, still doing some contests, but kind of transitioning out of competing. Like, I kind of I started to come to a realization, like, I'm a good surfer, but I don't think I'm going to be top 10.
Yep.
Like, you got to be like top 100 to be, you know, top 44 at the time to be on the world tour. And I was kind of starting to do the math in my head, and like, I spent all this money to do these contests, you know, and I think that's a little out of reach, to be honest. I didn't really give up on my dreams, but I actually started working to pay, because at the time I didn't have a good sponsor, and I started to work to pay for my trips. You know, I had a little travel budget with a company, but so I started teaching surfing, and then that leads to everything to today. You know, I found a love for teaching. I felt natural at it. I felt good teaching. I love the feeling you get when you give someone a wave and then you see them paddle back out with a smile, like your first wave, you know, and you're doing that all day, and it's like, it's almost, I don't know, it's kind of a crazy feeling to just like get people hooked on surfing. So I was doing that in California for another company for a couple years, and then at 23 I decided to start my own business out there. It's not like what I'm doing here in Hobe Sound, because I'm doing the camp for kids mostly, but out there it's so touristy that you have so much tourist flow coming through the town that I was in. It was called Laguna Beach, that you could make a pretty good living off of teaching tourists, you know, like, so a lot of my teaching skills and my methods and things that I teach the kids here now, I actually developed out there. I did that since 2015. And I taught surfing pretty much every day and really developed like a love for it, you know. But then I got to a point when I think probably around 10 years of being in California where all I wanted to do was be in Florida, you know. Like, I wanted to be back home.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really like teaching, but I'm teaching like super wealthy tourists and adults. Like, it was satisfying, but it got to a point where, you know, you're kind of dealing with snobby people out in California, you know? And so I was like, I would really love to take my skills as a coach and bring it to my hometown and do something with the younger generation, because, you know, like I said, I went to Williams Camp. That's 30-minute drive, you know. We didn't have those kids here to surf with. We didn't have that community of younger kids surfing. So why don't I try to do that? And like, I don't know, some people, like even my mom, uncles and stuff, they're like, you're crazy. There's not enough people in Hobe Sound to do that. And I was like, no, I think there is. I mean,
There
you go
is.
to a baseball game
Yep.
or a
Yep.
or a
There is.
one of the soccer games, there's kids everywhere. I was like, Hope Sound's a family-oriented place. It's like, it's a whole different thing than what I'm doing out there, because this is, people
Adults.
staying at the Ritz-Carlton paying $900 a night. They're doing a lesson and then they're leaving. This isn't kids coming to a camp for a week. Like, we have kids here in Hope Sound, they just don't surf, but now they're surfing. Yeah, so I made it back.
And they're out of the house. They're not on their iPhone or
Yeah.
whatever. What you're getting, movement, and movement is great. And the ocean is such a healing place.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a special place. And I think one thing that really wanted me to bring back, and maybe it took me 10 years to realize in California, or through those travels, is you don't really appreciate what you have until it's gone. I love the California journey, starting on the air mattress and everything. Like, it was so new and felt so crazy to me. But when I was a kid here, it was like in the summer it goes flat. You don't know what to do, and if you're a core like diehard surfer like me, you just want to go surf. So I was like, I got to go to California. But once you grow up, once I got into my 20s, I was like, wow, I kind of miss those flat mornings where you can go for a swim or fish off the beach, and this sand's different. You smell the seaweed. Like, you come down Bridge Road, there's all these feelings, that I didn't have out there. And so I kind of took Hobe Sound for granted when I was a kid. I had the best childhood ever. I loved it. But once I got out there, I really started to realize, like, I just feel it in my heart. I was like, I got to be home, But now I'm here and it's going good. And now I can run the camp. There's so many laws out in California. I mean, there's no way I could do a surf camp in the beach out there and have my dog hanging out with the kids and be casting it and mullet and fishing. Like, the town I lived in, you couldn't even fish in. It was like banned. So it's like crazy being a kid from Florida and then who grew up, jumping over the soundings wall to go cast net fish and fishing all over the docks and all the neighborhoods around here.
You can't fish in it.
Yeah, the town that I was teaching surfing in, Laguna Beach.
Is that unbelievable?
They deemed it as as a reserve to preserve the fisheries there, and you literally couldn't take a rod off the beach and go fish. You couldn't do any of the stuff that we're able to do here. And you take that stuff for granted.
I think here, if they would do like a month a year or whatever, to just for fishing, and that's net fishing and everything else. If you could just take a break from it, because there's so many boats. We get to the fish quicker. We do everything quicker, and the fish, if we could try to help them rebound. But I don't know the answer. But no fishing is ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know the answer either. One big turning point in my story too, with like what I was doing out there, is, I had a surf school. I make money on the beach and the ocean, teaching my passion. COVID comes, and they closed the beach. My business was essentially shut down out there for 3 months, and that's when my wheels really started turning too. It's it's like, what if this happens again? I'm like out of work. And I remember during those times I was thinking, like, the flights are canceled. Like, if my mom's sick right now, I can't even go home and see her, and as soon as that kind of chilled out a little bit, I came back to Florida and spent like the most amount of time in Florida that I'd spent in a while after that like crazy COVID time. Like, when I could get on a plane and I hanging out with my family and stuff, and that's when I was really like, I got to get back here as soon as I can, because being away from family and feeling trapped, your business is closed, you might not be able to make enough money to get home, and then you literally can't get on a plane to go home if someone gets sick. Was like kind of a scary feeling for me, because I was the only one out there at the time. Dad had left, then brother left, and then mom left, and I was kind of like the last one, like pushing the 10-year mark, as where they were all out of there by like 5-6 years. So I was just alone and doing my thing.
Yeah.
And then that period of madness in the world kind of made me really think.
So what year did you come back here?
I came back with this is 2026. I think it was like around 23.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I thought was 23.
Yeah, 23.
So,
Yeah. I'm in South Stewart now. I'm not home, but
yeah.
the ultimate goal would be to eventually get back into Hobe Sound. You know, it's just hard.
Yep.
Yeah, it's so hard to buy a house now, and in my hometown, it's like, you know, my dad bought our place off of Woodwind Street on Gomez in 1995. I looked it up because it kind of bothers me a little bit. I kind of have a chip on my shoulder about it. He bought it for $190. You know,
Wow.
like a 4.2 with a pool off of Gomez.
4.2 with a pool.
Yeah, $190. And now I drove by it once because my dad. That's another whole part of the story is like,
Tell it.
growing up in Hobe Sound at that time. Like I grew up off of Gomez, which was nice.
Yeah.
You know, there's other kids that grow up on the other side of US1 and trailers. You know, like that's kind of where my mind's starting to go. Is I want to start doing something to give back to the kids that can't afford camp. You know, like I've already donated a couple free weeks to camp this year, reaching out to friends who have kids that know kids who can't afford it. But like back then, my parents were pretty middle class. You know, my dad ran a cell phone store. My mom worked at various restaurants and took care of us. But now there's so much money coming into Hobe Sound.
Everywhere. It's the entire state.
You know, like I went and looked at a house on Jardin. I think it was like $380. I was like, oh my God, finally there's a house on Gomez for $380. And like someone came in, $420,000 offer cash. And then 3 weeks later I drove by and there's a for rent sign on it. You know, we have all this money coming in here.
Yep.
All these investors, because this is a special place, you know, we all know that. But it's getting so crazy that people that are from here that are blue collar, let's say blue collar, someone like me who works seasonally on the beach, and we can't raise our kids here the way that we want to, you know, unless we go get a crazy tech job in Miami or something. You know, I didn't go to college. I've always just been surf university and investing in myself. But yeah, it's tough. So
University of Huntington.
yeah. So I'm gonna try. I think next year's camp, I'm gonna try to sort of raise some money for kids who can't afford to come to camp, because those people are still here. Those parents, you know, whether it's like single moms or kids from broken homes, like they're still here, but they're renting at like outrageous rents. You know, whether they can't buy a house or they have to pay, you know, that guy that bought that house, for example, they got to pay his rent, you know, $3,000 a month, and they can't afford to go to surf camp. So a lot of kids coming to camp, they're awesome kids, don't get me wrong, but they're newer kids, you know, they're new people coming from other places. And a lot of kids are from Hobe Sound, totally, but I want to really try to get some of those kids who can't afford it and who are like pure Hobe Sound kids and get them into camp. So yeah, we'll have to figure out a way to do that.
Airbnbs too. You have so many Airbnbs.
Yeah.
You have. I know that just in like the little area, I think within less than a mile from here, there's 67 of them.
What?
Mm-hmm. Look at the thing for like Airbnb and VRBO. It's just a sea of them.
Oh my
and
gosh.
now if you take that now, if you look at say Jupiter and you look at Stewart and all that, it's just all full of them. Now if you took those out and you know if you took say half of those, you know, and then you'd have a better chance. But and a lot of these things it's just not reasonable, and that's why.
Yeah,
we need to do something about affordable housing. We got to.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in California, they had like stuff like that, but
Well, California has the same problem, boy. There
they had rent caps.
Yeah.
You know, there was rent caps and stuff like that. But I feel like a lot of it's like it gets abused. You know, like it's almost like a scam. Like, oh, we have a preserve. Let's say, for example, we have a preserve area in Florida. This is how it was going out there. We're going to develop this area that's normally not able to be developed, but we're going to develop it because it's affordable housing. then they build these like townhomes, you know, for students. Or at the place I was living in, there was like pretty big art community. Like it's artist living, affordable housing. But then it comes on the market for $4,000 a month for a 2-bedroom, you know, and it's like, whatever happened to affordable housing? Now this developer just took away this precious piece of land that we used to like hike on or something, and used the affordable housing scam to get in, and now it's not affordable.
Yep.
You know, and now there's millionaires living there. So being in California, like getting more into that stuff, being in California for me was eye-opening. To my theory is always California's 10 to 15 years ahead of what happens to Florida. I remember when I first went out there, I was like, whoa, there's frozen yogurt here. We never had frozen yogurt in Florida when I saw it out there, and I was like, that'd be a great business. We should put a frozen yogurt in Jupiter or Hobe Sound, you know? It's always 10 to 15 years ahead. Then there was acai bowls, you know? But when you look at it in the bigger picture with like housing and development and stuff, Florida still has space. We still have preserves. We still have places like JD where you can go hike. Most of California is just concrete on top of each other. You have a neighbor to your right, you have a neighbor to your left, and you even have a neighbor above you, you know, on top of you. So that was eye-opening to me coming back. I'm pretty passionate about Florida and its preserves, and like seeing my hometown start to grow. I know what it can be. You know, I lived it for almost 12 years in California. I know how bad it can get if you let them go crazy.
Well,
there's got to be a way to save it.
Well, Martin County forever, you know, that half a cent taxes. I think they have 22 properties and buying up, and we have even that woman Glazier. She bought up lots over here, you know, to extend the preserve over here. So, you know, there won't be more on that. And then she bought the 5 acres up here by the tennis center. So, you know, even that, people are
just
seeing
to preserve it.
And gave it to the county just to preserve it, and Martin County forever. So there's a lot of programs that are doing that. And the other thing is rural lifestyle, that all those properties, if you have 1,000 acres, you have 314 homes. You can have as many golf courses you want. And just like the ranches out here. Yeah. They're at 6,000 acres, and that was cattle country. They gave them 1,200 acres to preserve to wetlands. Okay. So I mean, our county compared to others, like just compared to St. Lucie, night and day. I mean, that's good. Now we need to work on more with Indiantown, or what we need to work on affordable housing. Yeah, and that's where I think our biggest need is. Yeah, it's important. But let's get back to Hobe Sound Surf Camp and how they can get in touch with you, and how we can do that, and, you know. Yeah, so I'm on Instagram. It's called Florida Surf Experience. Facebook, Florida Surf Experience -- Hobe Sound Surf Camp. You can email me, flsurfexperience @gmail.com, or you could call me. Yeah. Should I put my number out there? Yeah. Okay. 772-289-7590. That's the Florida Surf Experience hotline. So call and get your kids signed up. Yes. It's going to be a great summer. Can't wait. We're bringing back the 90s. I love it. That's our thing for the... A lot of parents have been telling me, like, we love it because it's so 90s vibes, you know? Like, they're not on phones. We're surfing. We're climbing trees, you know? We'll even walk over to the bridge. We'll go fish. We had the kids, like the more advanced kids in some of the, like, winter camps where they're little smaller groups, like, skating and, like, learning how to maneuver the skateboard to replicate that in the water. So kind of like surf camp, but a little more advanced, you know, like we can push into the advanced stuff just because of my history, but also just like having fun, you know, like throw dodgeballs at each other and play old school games on the beach, like kick the can. We fish, cast net, mullet, like it's fun. Yeah. It's fantastic. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, thank you for sharing your story, Ryan, because I mean, as you know, I've known you for, I don't know, 20 years or whatever it is. Maybe more. Yeah, 20 and 25 years. Pretty much. Yeah. But just a fan of yours, and thank you for sharing. And it's just cool. And let's hope you fill up the surf camp every week this year, and it's fantastic because, like I said, I'm a fan. And
yeah, follow us on Instagram. I always do like weekly recap videos of the camp and the kids riding waves and stuff. Like it's cool to see, and if you ever, if you're listening to this and you ever just want to like come down and watch, or like if you'd like to take pictures, anyone in the community who wants to like come by and check it out, it'll make your morning. You'll be going for a walk with your dog, and then next thing you know, you'll hear a bunch of kids like laughing and having fun and seeing kids ride waves. And in the morning, it's pretty special. We get a lot of like people that walk by that collect shells and stuff, and they're just like cheering the kids on, like it'll make your day. It's cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. And now, anybody else have a story out there, please contact us at Native Podcast. It's going to be great because I'll tell you what, Seth can get back to you, or Haley. And thank you, Seth, for doing this, because I'll tell you what, where would I be without Seth? Listen, thank your mother. Thank Bonnie. Bye.
Ivan's got the apron on, Harry's got his props. Ken is sticking out his tongue, just hope that hunter stops. Mom's singing a cappella, Pete's on his favorite stool. Sandra's back in Greensboro, so